Hello everybody, and we are back. Finally, Timeout Talks is back and brought to you by Chase and Thrills Custom T-shirts and accessories, sponsored by the Ice Shaker, and is also sponsored by Make It Mac as well. You guys can buy your custom Timeout Talks apparel via www.chaseandthrills.com and on Amazon, and you can purchase your Ice Shakers at www.iceshaker.com. Don't forget to follow Make It Mac on Instagram and Facebook if you want to have any special orders as well. Just want to welcome in all of our viewers on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. If you are going to be catching up with us later on in the show, we appreciate that as well. But Ben, glad to be back. We took we got the 4th of July week off. We're kind of professionals now. We get a little time off.
We deserve some time, Josh. Come on.
Yeah, we're here year round, but we're back. We've got a pretty good agenda. We've got some UFC back on our agenda. We're going to kick off the show talking UFC 290, all the storylines out of that card, the style bender, getting a new challenger. There was also another match that was just mentioned for John Jones. Big match, we'll get to that a little bit. Home Run Derby, MLB All-Star break, thoughts on the Red Sox. They going into this 8 straight wins. We're also going to get to the NBA Summer League, a little bit to the draft as well, all the other free agent stuff. Jaylen Brown, is he going to sign? When will he sign? Why hasn't he signed, like Jared's always saying? And, of course, we will get to your comments. But first, we're going to kick things off with UFC 290. We've got Volkanovski, who I called it. I said it was going to be round 3. He did it in round 3. My guy Dricus won as well. We had a great co-main event fight between Moreno and Pantoja. That was the fight of the night. I actually literally turned it on for that. Had a long day. Was out at the cookout that day. Shout out Chandra. Shout out Chris. And yeah, I turned it on, saw that fight, and literally, I don't know who it was. I think it was DC. Was like, this is the fight of the night. I'm telling you. As I'm watching, it's like round 2 or 3 at this point. And yeah, Ben, I thought, like I said, I didn't watch too much of the pre-main. I didn't get to see my boy Bo Nickel fight. I didn't see Jalen Turner as well. I saw the end of the Robert Whittaker and my guy Dupuis. So I'm just fired up that he won. Dricus. I'm sick of people choosing him as the underdog. And I'm just going to start the show with this. He's going to upset the style bender. You heard it here first.
Oh man, Josh taking it right there. That's a pretty good one. Not gonna lie. I was gonna say that's kind of my hot take too. I was gonna put that in there as well. Listen, I mean, I had that same thought right after, but I was just a little mad at myself for not taking him. I listened to Jimmy, unfortunately. I don't know why I listened to Jimmy on that one, but as Josh was mentioning, that's his guy. That's my guy too. Love him. Don't know why. Like Josh said, I don't know why people could down him. This guy is just massive. And as soon as he turned up in this fight, I was kind of a little concerned. He just kind of overshadowed Whittaker. I mean, Whittaker is a former champion, one of the best, a legend. And he kind of just dwarfed him. He kind of just took him to town. Good first round, but I mean, just cracked him at the end. And hats off to Dricus. I mean, Josh mentioned, the little sort of, I call it the rated R WWE sort of event that kind of has WWE vibes to it right there with Izzy and Dricus, little face off. But the rated R version, that was a little explicit. Those guys, I told you, those, as we mentioned later, before in earlier shows, Dricus comments about being the lone African fighter out there rubs some people some wrong way, and Usman was and Ngannou did not like those comments, and obviously Izzy did not like it either. So I think that's just building up for this great title fight. Like Josh mentioned, I mean, I think I'm going to take that Dricus. Those odds are going to be really good on Dricus. But I think overall, that's just going to be a great fight. Josh mentioned that co-main event is the fight of the night. I'm gonna have to give it to this other guy, the other guy Josh mentioned, Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner. Those guys put on a show. Dan Hooker looked like he was dead in the water. Just bleeding everywhere. Jalen Turner controlled the first round, almost knocked him out, and Dan Hooker just came out determined, pulled off the upset over Jalen Turner. Huge win for him. Wonder what we're going to do with Jalen Turner now. Where does he go? Dan Hooker's back in it now. So you got to watch out for him. But Josh, just a great card overall. We mentioned that co-main. I mean, you got to give the credit to Volk, my favorite fighter. It just looked too easy. Looked too easy against Yair, and that's his best challenger. So kind of don't know where he's going to go now. We obviously seen the Islam fight. So I'm kind of just curious what's next for him. But I'm excited, Josh, and let's just get to Boston. Let's forget about everything else. Let's just get to Boston.
Hey, we can't forget about everything else. My guy Dustin Poirier on the next card.
Here we go.
We'll talk a little
Here
bit.
we go.
Ben does not like him too much. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get closer. But as you mentioned, Ben, yeah, I think the point of this was, International Fight Week. And the card delivered. It really did. We had a couple cancellations as well. I know that Jack Melodelain, I think he didn't even end up fighting on the card because I literally that night, I was like, oh shit. I literally missed him. Like, I've been hyping him up on the podcast, and like Ben's been like putting him in my ear, like, you gotta watch this guy, you gotta watch this guy. And I remember the last card, he grabbed the mic, he stole the show, it was awesome. And then I was like, damn it, did I miss his fight? And then I noticed his match was canceled. And then obviously Bo Nickel, they were able to slide in a fighter for him. He ended up winning. But yeah, even with the cancellations and as you mentioned, a couple stunning upsets, great card. Like I watched the last two fights. I watched some highlights on the other fights. I thought it was great. The main event delivered as well. I know you mentioned Yair, his best challenger. He had a couple strikes, but that's the thing about Volkanovski, Ben. In the short time that I've watched the UFC, this guy adapts. He is probably, if not, the best pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. I mean, this guy climbed up a weight class and gave Islam a run for his money, who's been absolutely dominant. I feel like one of the next closest things to Khabib Nurmagomedov that we've seen. And yeah, I thought it was a great card. I thought Yair, as I'm watching, I'm putting in the chat, nobody's responding to me. I look like an idiot, but I'm thinking, oh, Yair's got he's got that long reach. Like maybe he's going to hit him with a couple. He hit him with a couple good strikes. I think it was in round three or two. Yeah, I think it was round three because then Volk just took over. But yeah, it was a good card, good fight. And Moreno. I think Moreno has lost 2 or 3 times now to
I think that was
Pantoja. Third time now.
Yep.
And I didn't know that. I've heard of Moreno so many times that I'm thinking Pantoja's coming in as the underdog, but that just wasn't quite it. That fight could have went either way as well. I know some people were kind of upset. They thought Moreno. I saw some people online were just freaking out about that. But Ben, yeah, I thought it was a great card. I'm excited for the next one, and I thought Dana White delivered.
Oh yeah, hey Josh. Josh was not an idiot that night. Don't worry. He was talking to himself, but it was well deserved. I mean, he hit on the Dreykus. I'm just still
my guy. It's my guy.
I know. I didn't trust my guy. As we mentioned, I'll co-join that with Josh. That's my guy as well. I love him, but I've been watching him for a while now. Just climbed the ranks, and I listened to Jimmy. I listened to everybody else. Nobody else gave Dreykus a shot. And like Josh mentioned, he just delivers the underdog role every time. So I'm excited to see him and Izzy. Going back to that co-main, just another one right in my face. Pantoja's beat him twice. Granted, I think it was actually on the Dana White Contender Series, their first fight they did was sort of a debut for both of them. Then they fought once they got into the UFC. Pantoja obviously winning both, but Moreno looked better in each fight. Moreno, obviously the champ now, taking down Figueroa in that trilogy or whatever, the 4 fights they had. So I mean, he was the champ and he was the favorite for a reason. He was his game had definitely improved over the years, but Pantoja, I don't know. Pantoja just has his number. Pantoja had a crazy first round. People thought, maybe just let all the gas, out of there right now. But we bounced back after that tough second. Moreno, I know people are still complaining about that. But no, as a guy who had money on Moreno, he didn't win the fight. Pantoja controlled it. Had bigger Moreno probably had the bigger shots, but I think overall Pantoja had the control time, and just had as many shots, just crazy as amount of shots as Moreno. Moreno, I think, had more, but I think Pantoja, closed the gap enough in order for just the control to take over that fight. And, you can't argue with it. I know he really didn't do anything. It was kind of a boring fight, at times in the later rounds. But he's controlling you. He's proved he's just a better wrestler right there, and you got to be awarded those points. So as tough as it for me to say, you got to give it to Pantoja. I wish I saw that Josh was right in my face as well. Him and Drake is just right there. But I chose the boring fighters. I don't know why I chose those guys. But it was tough. It was tough out there. And shout out, obviously, Bo Nickel, as you mentioned, Bo Nickel. He fought like a former landscaper, so I gotta see more from Bo Nickel. Listen, that fight, no offense to the land, tougher than I'll ever be in my life. But listen, we gotta give him a little tougher opponent than Val Woodburn. No offense to him, like I said, but he's just gotta fight somebody else. And Robbie Lawler, hats off. I don't know how I didn't see that one either. Last fight ever, just completely knocked him out. So just congrats to Robbie Lawler too. Listen, like me and Josh mentioned, we're just getting into this UFC game. I obviously know him. I didn't watch him in his heyday, but you got to pay respects to the legend. So you got to pay it forward to him.
100% there, Ben. We've got Charlie chiming in with a couple comments here. Benny Betts is ice cold. We've got the Izzy versus Dreykus, and hopefully Volk can take Islam this time around. I second that as well. And I just want to say one thing before you kind of rebuttal to your Benny Betts is ice cold. I actually don't mind the boring fighters. I'm a huge fan of Colby Covington. I know his fight with Masvidal. I wasn't bored at all. In that co-main event as well, I wasn't bored at all. I actually don't mind the grappling fighters, and I know a lot of people always want to see like a strike or... I'm okay with I'm a submission guy. I like watching people tap out. That's fine. I know somebody's going to turn that into some type of troll or meme if Rob or somebody hears it. So, but whatever. But yeah, back to the more interesting part here of what I was saying, or what Charlie was saying. The Benny Betts ice cold. Let's get to that.
It was a rough one. It was a rough weekend, Josh. Everything was wrong. Like I said, I took Whitaker.
Hey, betting's tough.
Sometimes. Yeah,
betting is...
you got to be responsible, but you got to just know when to phone it in sometimes. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I should have thrown in the towel, but it was a great card. All the fights were entertaining, so that kind of just piqued my interest a little more. But yeah, I mean the main takeaways. Listen, I got to bounce back next weekend. Don't worry, Holly Holm. First, whoever, I forget who it is. I think it's Bueno Silva or something. It's a fight night. It's a random fight night. Maybe I can bounce back to that. But like I said, it was more so just let's look forward to Boston. Actually, I believe there's a decent fight card too. Nurmagomedov first. Corey Sandhagen. That'll be a good fight card in between, but. Maybe I can make some money back on that one, but it was. Sometimes you just got to trust your gut, Josh. Dreykus, he was right there. He's the man. As she said, Izzy versus Dreykus. We've already mentioned that too. I think we're gonna take Dreykus. I think this is Team Dreykus over here. Don't love everything he says, everything he said, but I think he's just an exciting fighter. You gotta root against the champ. You don't want to be boring and root for the champ. Dreykus poses a great threat, and can't wait for that fight. I'm gonna take Dreykus.
I think so too. I want him. Stylebender. Hopefully he gets knocked down. I'm just a big Dreykus fan. However, like I mentioned, we've still got UFC 291, and I wanted to talk about this and your thoughts on this, because like you said, we're both getting into the UFC game, but you know a little bit more than me. Dana White coming out announcing a big fight for Veterans Day in Madison Square Garden, New York. John Jones, arguably the best mixed martial arts fighter of all time, some people are all in on that, is going to be fighting Stipe. Ben, is there a chance Stipe knocks him off?
Josh, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with John Jones for this one. I think it's going to be a great fight. This is sort of a retirement fight as well. Just kind of look at it. Might be a last fight for both of them. John Jones just got back in the game, but you never know. Big win over Stipe, legend of the game. MSG, he might just go out right there. I know he's got the contract, yada yada. He can get out of that. We got lawyers for a reason. But I mean, to be honest, this is going to be a great fight. This is, Stipe's knockout power. Is it going to be able to break through against John Jones? I don't think so. I think John Jones is going to wrestle him, take him out from there. But Stipe hasn't fought in a while, so I'm factoring that in as well, Josh. And John Jones just took down the number one contender in Suogane pretty easily. So I think, unfortunately, they're going to go with the easy pick, John Jones, in this one. But I think that's just going to be a great all-around card. I think they're going to build that card up great because it's just one of the best main events I've seen in a while. Interesting fight for both of them. It's going to be exciting. Like I said, going to take John Jones. Like Dylan said, Jones moving him. Yeah, I agree with the other one from Dylan too. But Jones is moving him around. I think he's just going to out-wrestle him. It's just going to be easy work for him. Unfortunately, but just be great, man. Like I said, MSG, can't pass that up, Jones.
Yeah, I have to agree with you and Dylan. It's me and James have talked about this before. I know Gabe as well. Shout out Gabe, but yeah, I just don't. John Jones comes in, he takes out arguably the best guy at the top of the chain, and after 2.5 years of just not fighting at all. I almost said wrestling. I'm stuck in that WWE world, but yeah, I mean, this guy's just unbelievable. This is why they call him John Bones Jones. And yeah, I've heard so much about Stipe from Tyler and a couple other guys, and I might have to watch a little bit more of him, but again, I don't think anyone's going to take John Jones down in the heavyweight class. Then again, you never know. It'll be some random Joe Schmo that does end up beating him because that's just kind of how it works, I feel like. But yeah, I got John Jones, and to Dylan's point, I think he's going to move him. I think John Jones wins that one. He moves them, and to your point, yeah, it seems to me like if you're putting John Jones and Stipe, you probably don't have to have that stacked of a card, but it's Veterans Day, a little later in the year, football season's going to be around, competing with college football as well. I think they're going to have a pretty stacked card for 295, and again, don't forget about 291. We'll talk about that a little bit closer as it gets. I think that one's July 29th. My boy's on that. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I agree with you, Ben. I think he's just going to roll. I don't see anybody being able to take him down.
Yeah, John Jones is just a different beast right now. They thought the weight might get to him. Thought might slow him down. But it clearly didn't. Like we said, took down Surigane, a wrestler, pretty easily. It just made them look just real easy. Just didn't even, that fight really wasn't even anything. Surigane really didn't get any punches in there, really didn't do any damage. Jones really just controlled it. So I'm excited for that one. As Josh mentioned, Boston. Shout out to that one too. But as I threw in there, watch out for that Corey Sandhagen, Umar Nurmagomedov fight. Corey Sandhagen, huge in the rankings right now. Probably gonna be the next superstar in UFC. And Nurmagomedov, anytime you got a last name like that, it's gonna draw eyes. He's undefeated, top of the division as well. So it's a nice little fight night sandwich in between. But Josh, UFC, I mean, like we've been saying, you gotta jump in now, jump in on board. Because we just got these great cards already set up halfway through this one, and then they just put this Jones, like we mentioned, Jones Stipe at the end of this. So gonna go and get into there, and it's getting me excited thinking about that Stipe fight, Josh, because football season's right there, and that's gonna be right there. That's just gonna be great having that Saturday night and then Sunday football. So can't wait, Josh. I
cannot wait. August is coming around too. We got to do our bold predictions. Not even our bold predictions because we did a couple of those, but our schedules, what we think for each standings. I'm sorry, for each of our teams. We're coming around the corner for that. Maybe the next time we get James on, we can do that. We've got plenty of time. I'm really ready for football season. It's kind of in the back. It's like I'll see things on Instagram or I'll see like posts or like just the group chats and stuff. They'll be firing off and I'll think, I can't wait for football. Like this is getting me revved up. But I've kind of like submerged it a little bit because I don't want to get too overzealous and too happy. But we're less than I mean, if you really want to be technical, we're probably less than a month away till we see football in general because the Hall of Fame game and preseason. But I don't count it until September, and we're pretty close. We're less than a little close to two. Actually, we're less than 2 months away from that. So excited for that. But before we move on, wanted to get to this last comment, and this is the comment that this was the point I thought when we were talking John Jones, Charlie O'Donnell. Wish Ngannou wasn't boxing because he'd be the best fight for Jones. I couldn't agree with him anymore. This was the fight that everybody wanted to see. This was the pound for pound, best challenge for John Jones. I know we said gone, but he took him out in the second round, something like that, or even the first round. It was insane. It was immediately. So, but yeah, I couldn't agree with Charlie anymore. And unfortunately, the UFC couldn't figure it out with Ngannou. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait. And well, hey, maybe Stipe can be that guy. But I kind of want to see John Jones continue to roll.
Yeah, I mean, gotta agree with Chi on that one as well. I was waiting for that fight. Once you heard the John Jones return, you just kind of assumed it was going to be that fight. That's what everyone's been gearing up towards. That was what many people said was the only reason that John Jones would come back to that fight. But obviously, yeah, as Josh mentioned, the UFC, I don't know how we couldn't really get a number for him that he would agree on. That kind of confuses me. Unless it kind of seems like he's really just looking for a crazy number right now. To be honest, he's went through a couple people, that just haven't been able to afford the price he's been asking for. It looks like he's finally found somebody. I think this Tyson Fury fight's going to get done. But I think he finally found somebody that's going to do it. But I mean, I really just wish he just got it done with UFC. I mean, we could have, I wish the UFC in the same light, was a little more lenient. Who cares if he wants to box and do UFC at the same time? I'll let him do whatever, as long as he's, putting in some fights with us, as long as he's doing his part. Yeah, so I mean, I see from both sides, but it's just something. I wish they could get done, but unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna get done.
It's money, timing, contract stipulations. It's not going to get done, and we've got Scooby coming in. He wants to keep the UFC talk rolling. I haven't heard from this guy. Here he is. Bo is a legend in the making. Ben doesn't like it.
Man, I mean,
Ben doesn't like it. Oh boy.
I mean, listen, I told you, I just brought this point up earlier. I mean, we got it was a cancel. I know Trayshawn Gore was obviously supposed to be there, and that would have been a little better of a test, obviously, than this ex-landscaper. No offense, like I said before, to Val Woodburn. Obviously could beat me up in real life. Is much tougher than me. I will ever be. But I mean, if Bo's going to be this guy, I mean, he already sort of had that easy test. He's going to have to, first fight, he's going to have to get someone else, Scooby. He's going to have to get someone that's, going to put up a fight. I mean, just Bo's footwork didn't even look that good when he knocked him out there. It was just sloppy footwork. And he just beat him. It just wasn't the guy on his caliber. I'm sorry, Val Woodburn. He's just not. So I don't know why. I know he really Scooby really didn't. That footwork stunk. I mean, like I just said, that was his first knockout ever. So it was good to see him get out of his comfort zone. Good to see him prove that he can knock someone out. But I gotta see it on someone else. I gotta see it on someone else other than Val Woodburn. And I gotta see a test from him. I think he's got great potential. Legend in the making. I don't know. And Tyler coming in there, that'd be a great fight. Listen, I mean, I think Bo and Nick would get killed right there against Kazmat, but that would be the test for him. I think it's a little too early. Listen, whatever. Scooby's bringing up the national. Listen, it's wrestling, different sport over there. But I just need something else. I don't need Val Woodburn.
Ben doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. Him and Scooby on another difference there.
His name, Josh. I mean, it's Val Woodburn. I mean, nobody even knows who this guy is. This guy, if he wants to fight, he just didn't even defend the punches. I mean, what was he doing there?
Hey,
obviously,
I don't want to be devil's advocate, but he was 7-1. Now that doesn't mean really anything. Yeah. That really doesn't mean too much in the UFC. I don't know. I don't take that.
I think he was actually undefeated.
I take that with a grain of salt.
I think he was undefeated.
Oh, so he was 7-0. Yeah, now he's 7-1 after that. Yeah,
so he's undefeated. So I mean,
better
for your point. But yeah, listen. I mean, he's making his UFC debut too. Like it's his UFC debut against Bo Nickel. Like, you're not gonna win that one.
Yeah, Ben just doesn't like him. That's fine. We
Listen, I like Bo. I like Bo, but I don't want people
not
like
like that.
Scooby coming out here saying he's a legend in the making. I mean, he really hasn't done anything. Yeah, he's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen, but it's only gonna get you so far. You gotta see something else. But listen, he's got the potential. He's got the hype. People love the name. He's exciting. So I'm excited to see his journey. But listen, we gotta slow the roll. I'm always scared after this Rahul Rojas fight.
That's true. That is very true.
We overhype these guys sometimes, but I think Bo Nickel's got a little more grounded. Rahul's still pretty young, so we gotta give him a little more time. But legend in the making, so maybe slowly roll on that, Scooby. Slowly roll. Let me wait till the next fight. Let's see the next one.
No, I 100% agree. Especially with a guy under 10 fights in his career. We'll wait and see. I feel like you mentioned it perfect on the Rojas thing. I feel like we have the tendency to do this a lot within all of sports, even in the UFC in the short time that I've been watching. But yeah, I agree, Ben. However, I will say it's time to turn the page here a little bit. We're going to be talking the Home Run Derby. We're going to slate that right in there. And I didn't watch it live, I'm not going to lie, but I was able to watch some of the highlights. I saw how Adley Rutschman was amazing. He didn't even get out of the first round, but that doesn't matter to me. He's awesome. Just the switch hitting, I love that. Love to see that. And Julio stealing the show as well. I thought he was going to come away with it. He was my pick to win it. Didn't end up happening. However, we had Randy Arozarena, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., and Vladdy Guerrero have both won home run derbies. Ben, I thought the home run derby, I didn't watch it live, but again, it's one of those things, it always delivers. It delivered. I personally think that baseball has the best all-star events. Like, I love the three-point contest, but even that's getting a little whack. The dunk contest is completely whack. And the NBA All-Star Game is just not good anymore at all. They try to, do these things with first to get this points, and, it's not that good. I thought baseball's was the best. They used to also have the most meaning from it, whether it was the AL or the NL would win, then that side of so if the NL would win the All-Star Game, then they would get home field advantage. I liked that they had that. They don't have that anymore, but I still think the All-Star Game is the best, and the festivities are the best for the MLB. I thought it was great, and yeah, I did see Marshawn Lynch's chain. That was sick as well. Just everything that comes out of it, even the I don't know. I just think it's a lot better. I thought the home run derby was great, and shout out to Vladdy Guerrero Jr. He's got one of the best swings in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, Julio Rodriguez, as Josh mentioned, he took him. I took him as well. A little mad at him. Maybe he could have saved those 41 home runs for the second round. I was pretty confident in him going against Vladdy Guerrero. But I mean, he put on a show that first round. That was awesome to see. He was a machine, and I won't lie, but I've been trying to get a little better at baseball. I obviously know Luis Roberts, a big name, but that guy's a giant. That guy's a freak of nature. He's a mammoth. Gotta give it to him. I don't know how the White Sox aren't, a little better. A little confused on that. You gotta check that out a little more, but he kind of ruined that first round for me because Adley put on a show, as Josh mentioned, switch hitting it. I had Adley getting out of that first round. That was my big upset. But Luis Roberts, he's just got that sweet swing. He kind of forgot, this home run derby kind of just sort of helps you remember some of these big names, kind of highlight some of them. It was an interesting group, Josh. This year was kind of a fun group. You throw Mookie in there. Mookie probably shouldn't have been in there, but it was cool to see Mookie do it. This is what they were doing an interview with his wife. Yeah, I know. They were kind of doing an interview with his wife, and she said, she kind of nudged him to do this just to, check it off his bucket list for baseball. So, Mookie's obviously a very accomplished player.
I like that.
Yeah, cool to see him just check it off his list, get something. He's never probably going to do it again. Obviously, as Josh mentioned, 11 home runs. He really just didn't have that sort of home run swing. And obviously, he can do everything on the baseball field in the regular game, but in the home run derby, you kind of need those long arms and just, kind of just being jacked like Vlad Guerrero and Luis Robert, kind of a different game. So was good to see him out there. I love seeing Mookie. Still wish he was with us. I was gonna slip that in there. But just good to see Mookie doing well over there. But hats off to Vlad Guerrero. I thought he was pretty much done, Josh. He looked pretty tired after that first one. I didn't think he was going to get out of that first round, but him and Randy Areza, I butcher that, whatever. He's a Rays. We don't need to say his name right. Randy put on a show as well. This little dog, I had him upsetting Garcia. I didn't know that guy. Maybe Josh knows him. I didn't know Garcia was that good. I don't really like so sort of get
a lot
a
of
little
power.
more familiar with
Yes.
baseball. Yeah, these guys can. Who's hopefully he's a little better in the regular season than they performed in the home run derbies. But Randy put on a show, so hats off to there. And it was just I like what they did with the events, Josh. Now I think obviously I've had a couple years now, but the double, the bonus minute, double home runs over 440, you get a minute, an extra 30 seconds in there gives you about a minute. I think it's just a little fun. It just adds a little more fun to the game. So I was excited. I was excited to watch it. I'll tune into like you mentioned, Josh. It's not the most exciting now, the All-Star game. I'll tune in for a little. Maybe see Josh's boy Garrett Cole. Hopefully get smacked around. And a little fun fact, Josh. I mean, in our lifetimes, the NL has only won the All-Star game 3 times in our lifetimes. Just want to let you know the AL has won it 12 straight times.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, 12 straight times. So I mean, if you're betting, man, maybe just take the AL. But NL, I think they're due for one. Luis Arraez too. That guy. We're gonna butcher all the names, but my guy out of Miami. I like that guy. That guy's gonna put on a show tonight.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. I thought it was great. I think it's great for the game. It's there like 3-point contest and dunk contest all in one. I know Chris and Cody made great points. A lot of players don't want to do it because they're swings. That's why the Shohei Ohtanis, the Devers, they turn them down. But I liked it. They got enough star power. Even Mookie Betts just having a minute was great. And Adolis Garcia, one out of the, I think, 5 or 6 players for the Texas Rangers who made the All-Star team. Again, tip of the cap to Texas, who completely turned it around. But, yeah, I thought the event was great. And as you mentioned, I'm not, super keen on watching the All-Star game tonight. I'm going to give it a look because I love Garrett Cole. I love baseball. I do think that it is the best All-Star game for all of them. I know some people have made the argument that hockey might be, but I like the MLB. I think they do a great job in terms of all the events. Even the celebrity one, all that stuff. They do what they can. I mean, I don't watch the celebrity one, but still, nobody really watches the celebrity ones. It's okay. I feel like out of all the products, the MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB does the best in terms of the All-Star games. But yeah, I'll probably watch a little bit of it, and yeah, here we go. Scooby, if Garrett Cole pitched to Devers, he'd win. That is true. Garrett Cole just seems to have, I don't know, something about Devers. He just always has his way with him. So, yeah. But overall, I thought the home run derby was great. I thought it was good. We're probably going to switch gears here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA Summer League. I was all over Wembanyama. We're going to dive right into this. He had a terrible first game. Then he comes back with a great second game. And then they just shut him down for the rest of the Summer League. At first I looked at it and I laughed. I was like, oh my God, of course, they want to save him. They want to save their precious Wembanyama. But then I took some time. I thought about it. And I'm like, all right, dude, you're being ridiculous. This kid is, if they believe, he's once in a lifetime, once a generational player. And even if he isn't a generational player, he's the first overall pick in the NBA draft. Rest him. He got a little bit of the competition in. He's been playing overseas for a while now. He's fine. It's not like he's going to be out of shape or anything. He's ready for it. Again, I'm not saying Wembanyama is going to come into this league and take over, but I saw what I needed to see. I think he's going to be fine. I think borderline all-star this year. And the number I see in my head is 17 points per game, but who knows? I feel like he'll kind of be all over the stat sheet in terms of steals, assists, rebounds, blocks, points. But yeah, like what I've seen from him, and I know the Celtics. The only thing I can say is Jared Walsh, whatever the kid's name is. He's been okay for them. JD Davison, they're like trying to hype him up on their social media. I'm not sold on him. But yeah, the Celtics, we could get a little bit more with them because we've got plenty of show left. But overall, Ben, I have no problem with them benching Wembanyama. At first, I just wanted to poke fun with it. At first, I was like, what the hell? But it makes total sense.
Oh, yeah, no, it's especially seeing these other injuries, Josh. And just a little side note, too, for that NL MVP, if you want to do a little spicy one, I got Luis Arraez, plus 2,300. I'm saying his last name wrong, but I feel a little better than people. That's a little nice one over there. Just want to slip that one in there for my baseball people. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at some of these injuries too, Josh. Scoot Henderson, shout out Jared. Get injured in the summer league already, so they're taking him out. The Pistons, I believe it was Ozzie Thompson. It's either Ozzie or Amir. You got the twin brothers in there. They've taken him out for the summer league injury. It's just not worth it. You can already see the scrutiny coming from the first game. Listen, he played fine. He had some nerves, and I liked his honesty, Josh. I liked his honesty saying, "Hey, I didn't know what I was doing out there." It's a different game. Like we've been mentioning, it's a different game. From overseas and whatnot. France playing in some of these other leagues around the world. The competition's it's up there. It's still good, but nothing's like the NBA. Nothing's like the speed and just the way we play over here. It's a little more fundamentals overseas and whatnot. This is all about speed and just athleticism over here. So, I think it's going to take him a little while to get adjusted. Like I said, I agree with this one, Josh, but I would like to see him play a couple more games. Just after seeing that 27-point game performance from the second game. So that was pretty good from him on that one. I would have liked to see maybe a little more, get his feet a little more dirty in there, just get some more work. But like I said, Scoot injury, seeing some of these other top guys just already sit out. It's just easier and safer. Just especially Popovich. Popovich isn't going to complain. He loves it. He loves sending people. So I don't really have an issue with it. Like you said, I mean, hey, we'll get to it a little more. We'll get to it obviously in a while, but Jared Walsh. That's his name, right? Jared. It's Jared Walsh, right? Okay. Just want to make sure. Thank you. I guess he's good. I haven't been watching too much tape, Josh, but I mean, people are hyped up. People have been saying he's been pretty good so far for us. We need a strong power forward out there, especially with injury-prone guys like Rob Williams and Kristaps. So it would be nice to have a reliable player, but let's back it up. I keep trying to say the G League. It's the summer league. It's essentially G League. But
it's Jordan Walsh.
Jordan Walsh, thank you.
I was going to say Jared Walsh plays in the MLB. I don't know. Yeah, Jared
Walsh. Yeah, I was about to say Angels.
Charlie too. Yeah,
he's on Angels. Jordan Walsh. There we go. I was about to say. My bad.
My bad too on that one. Yeah, no. I hope he doesn't just end up like another main stash guy. I don't think that's the case. I think, as you've mentioned, power forward. He's got some length to him. He can also shoot the three. Hopefully he does become kind of, the successor to Al Horford. They can get some more playing time. But again, I'm so stuck on the Celtics right now in general, like with the Kristaps Porzingis. I think the whole Jaylen Brown thing's kind of a big decision, whether they decide to long-term extend him. He's going to be a lot of money. Is he worth the money? Yes. It's a gamble either way, it kind of, and I don't mean to bring it to this, but like, it's kind of like the Celtics, I don't want to say like Aaron Judge situation because, he's not like, Jason Tatum is kind of like better, but then I don't know. It's a big situation for the Celtics, and I think if you do sign Tatum, I mean, you've already signed Tatum, but if you sign Brown, you're linking these two. This is going to be your duo that you run with, and, this is a lot of money being thrown. Of course, the organization's going to have second thoughts anyways, and they're going to have their doubts. And I think you're starting to see that trickle down to the fans, Ben. We've seen the turnover struggles. We've seen them also go so far and how successful that they've been. But we've seen them come up short. So, the age plays a balance, but the success and then the money. So I just think it's a real confusion time for me as a Celtics fan right now. Like, I don't know how to feel about the Kristaps Porzingis deal. I want to sign Brown, but like, I'm also skeptical that, he's going to want to trade out in a year or two, or Tatum's not going to want to stay. Like, I just don't know what to believe, and I can't believe anything until I see it. Until I see Jaylen Brown has signed a 5-year super max extension with the Celtics from Woj Shams. Like, that's kind of what I need to see. I feel like the Celtics are pretty tight-knit too, so we're not going to hear too much. But overall, I'm stuck. It's a confusing time for the Celtics. I don't love or hate the Jordan Walsh thing. I don't love or hate the Kristaps Porzingis. I don't love or hate the Grant Williams trade, which of course we were going to talk about because I've been talking about getting him out of here forever.
Ranty.
I'm upset about the Smart, but I'm not like, don't love or hate that. Like, it's just a weird time to be the Celtics right now and to be a Celtics fan, and I think they're really pushing all their chips in right now. Like, they're going all in on Porzingis. They want to form a big three. And there's just a lot of question marks right now, Ben, and it's going to be a lot of commitment. Like, they are committed to Kristaps Porzingis right now, who has injury concerns. They are going to be committed to Jaylen Brown if they sign him to a long-term deal. So they're trying to make everybody happy while trying to get the success. And for me, it's like pulling, it's like doing legit tug of war. You're pulling both sides of the rope here, and I don't know which side to lean on. And I'm just kind of taking it to whatever side Brad Stevens decides to do because I trust him.
Yeah, I knew once I saw Zach was watching, I knew it was going to the Pelicans
2024
champion.
Every year, it just keeps going.
Yeah, you got to respect the persistency, Josh, and consistency, from Zach. Listen, 2024 maybe. Listen, let's just worry about Zion. What's going to happen with Zion? I don't even know. He's all over the place. As Josh has mentioned, a little tug of war. It's kind of tug of war over there with him. Do they keep him? Do they not? So Zach's got his own problems to worry about. As Josh mentioned at the end of that, I think he's perfectly said it. We just got to see it. I just got to see this team on the court with Kristaps. We can talk all we want about this, but I just got to see it to believe it if this can work. Because we got 2 injury-prone guys, as I mentioned, Rob and Kristaps, and kind of banked on Kristaps being kind of the guy for us. Obviously, we've talked about the Marcus Smart one. I wasn't totally in love with it, but I've come to, I accept it. We had to move on from him. We had to do something. We just couldn't keep doing the same thing over and over again. So. It's just tough because I gotta just see this team. We gotta see this team and see if they can gel with them, and see how much this Graham Williams move hurts us. So I know Josh is gonna make fun of it, but and I know a couple other people that are gonna make fun of it. I know everybody likes to poke fun at Grant, but Grant had his minutes and Grant had his role on this team. He did it well, so. We're gonna miss him, and we're gonna have to see who's gonna replace these minutes in these hustle plays that Grant and Mark Smart put out there. So, listen, we'll just let Zach, little Zach, steep in his own mustiness over there. I don't know.
There's something in the air in the Big Easy. Not just mustiness. Saints and Pelicans 2024 champs. # get floats ready.
I mean, the Saints have a better chance. I mean, that division's wide open. So, hey, Zach, we got a little positivity for Zach today. We'll give it to him on that one. Pelicans, just go get that Derek Carr jersey, Zach. Go get that Derek Carr jersey ready to go. Because that's what you're probably going to have to bank on. But hey, it's going to be exciting. And like we always get back to the NFL, Josh. There's always a little NFL right there. It gets me excited to see the Saints. I want to see what the Saints can do.
For sure. I think that they're pretty much an early pencil in to win that division. That division is, the Bucs I can't take serious. I know that they're already the cornerbacks. I think it was Carlton Davis saying people need to take us serious. Like, we're going to prove people wrong this year. I don't know. I think they're a pencil in to win that division. And this is what Zach does. He gets all excited before the season starts. He does kind of what us Cowboys fans do, but he does it like with his team, whether it's the Detroit Tigers, the Detroit Pistons, whether it's the Pelicans, the Saints, Woo!
He's going Motown.
Yep. So this is what he does. He's doing that Dallas Cowboy fan thing where he gets over excited. I love it. He never counts his teams out, but yeah, I agree with you. I think the Saints have a better chance. I think Derek Carr over there too. Good fit. Yeah, I know that they're in cap hell, but I think their division's just too bad. And yeah, I mean, we can come back to the NBA in a minute. I mean, we can get back to the NFL to end the show, but yeah, I think that that division's just terrible. And yeah, I think that they'll win that division. I think the Saints are actually a solid team overall, but yeah, overall Celtics. I'm not like hating. I'm not like loving. I'm in like a confusion state. And the Pelicans, I saw something about Zion today talking about struggling with his diet and stuff like that. And I feel like it's just an ever-ending story with the Pelicans. You know, shout out to my boy B.I., Brandon Ingram, for holding it down over there because they just, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I thought that they were gonna make a deep run that year that they had JJ Redick like a bunch of years ago when they kind of made a bunch of little plug and play moves, and that just didn't end up happening. I know CJ McCollum's kind of over there, but they're just a team. I know James always talks about the Trailblazers, but this is another team that like I feel like nobody really like cares too much about. I don't know. Since Anthony Davis left, they haven't had that real star power. Zion's not bringing it. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. It's no offense to those teams. I mean, hey, Portland and NOLA obviously have great sports towns, sports cities, and just supporting other teams around there. But it's just for some reason the basketball just I don't know. Maybe since Clyde Drexler, I don't really remember a good trail. Brandon Roy had a couple of good teams, but the Trailblazers really never got anybody, and I mean, the Pelicans really aren't, like Josh mentioned. They had a couple of good years. I mean, they were exciting that what's his name, Jose Alvarado year. They were exciting that year.
Good
That was a good
defense.
year.
Yep.
That was good. Yeah,
They're
that was
playing,
good.
right? They had like a little
Yeah,
run.
they played. Yeah, they had a nice little run over there. It was a cool room for them then, but I don't know. There's something about those teams doesn't really, it just grab your attention. It's just kind of like middle of the pack teams. They're gonna have a couple of cool runs, and they're never really gonna do anything. But no offense to them. But I mean, speaking of Trailblazers, Josh, we haven't even talked about it. Dame destination spots. I'm just booking him to Miami right now. He's gonna be heat. I'm taking an easy one. Uh, it's pretty locked up. It's just it's how long can the Trailblazers wait out? How long are they gonna wait out for a better package? They're gonna see everybody. He's not coming to Boston. Listen, we're out in Boston. I was originally, hey, I was kind of I was a supporter, but listen, I mean, listen, if we can get rid of, if we can keep Brown and Tatum and get them, I'm still a supporter, but I don't think we'll be able to get that package. Josh, yeah, of course, we all would. I think everybody in Boston would like that one, but I think we're all set with that. I don't think we're going to be able to compete with the Heat package. I think it's unfortunate for Jared. Well, it depends how Jared feels. Best hand at the table might help him out, but. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be Dame's gone. He's going to go to Miami. And it's going to be a little scary for us Celtics.
100%. I'm actually really glad you brought this up because this has been one of the biggest, if not the biggest storyline in all of the NBA free agency is where's Damian Lillard going to land? You've got the GM going back and forth saying I've done all that I could, which is just ridiculous to say. Kind of like, it went from a complete something went wrong. Like Damian Lillard was all in, the loyalty, and like I kind of feel for him. Like every year they kind of, they shipped out McCollum, and I know that ship kind of ran sail, like it already kind of sailed and it ran dry, but they didn't really do all that they could for him. It's tough because for some reason everybody like poo-poos on Portland, and it's a small market team, and we've been over this 1,000 times with James, but I don't like. I get it from where the GM standpoint is. Like, of course, I think the respectable thing to do would be to trade him to Miami, but I get that they're not just going to do that for a bag of chips. Like, they're going to get value in return. But the whole shots back and forth thing, I don't know. The GM saying we've done all we could. I just don't think that that's true at all. I know that they've made little moves. They went out and got Jeremy Grant. They obviously. But these aren't like, I don't know, like these are solid players, but these aren't guys like the Kevin Durant's or, Jason Tatum's. Like they're pairing him up with guys like that. I mean, and he did all he could with McCollum and Nurkic years ago when they, lost to the Warriors in the conference finals. But I digress. I think overall, I agree with you. I think the ship has also sailed for Boston. I know that they were in. Dame doesn't want to be there. They don't want a Kyrie situation 2.0. And not that Dame's Kyrie, but if you're trading for Dame, you want him to be there. You want him all in. And the Celtics already made their little trade there with Kristaps Porzingis. That's who they have. And I agree with you. I think the Heat have a lot more to offer. We got rid of Smart. Brogdon's we don't know what's going on with his elbow. Also getting older. Also has a lot of health and injury concerns as much as I do love him. Grant Williams, the anchor of your defense in some people's minds, had just left as well. He was a trade aspect as well. That's kind of gone. But I think Miami makes the most sense, Ben. I think you're talking Tyler Hero, a couple other players as well. I don't know how that's going to work. Draft picks are like all of a sudden super valuable now. I don't think they're as valuable as James is making it out to be, but I think him in Miami could be very dangerous, and I think that's looking like what's going to end up happening. I agree with you 100% on that. It's a matter of when.
Yeah, exactly. Just piggyback off that point too. Yeah, I mean, when you bring up Jeremiah Grant, I mean, that's the biggest no offense. Like we said, I'm doing a lot of no offenses to people, Val Woodburn especially. But yeah, listen, I mean, Grant's a great player. Great years on the Pistons, but I mean, that's your biggest splash. I mean, that's probably not doing the best for Dame. The guy's just giving everything to this franchise. That's the best move you're going to put out there. Now look what the Celtics did. Obviously, that's an easy example. Paul Pierce, we bring in KG, Ray Allen. LeBron, the Cavs, they brought in Kevin Love over there to help him out. Kobe, obviously, got a bunch of players. To help him out. They got Shaq. So, you see teams actually do some of this stuff. Obviously, the sort of top tier franchises a little more, but I mean, the Trailblazers were once one of the top teams out there. Like I said, I mean, probably during the Clyde days. That's a little while ago, but still, I mean, they were up there. But they kind of just got into this middle of the pack team.
For sure. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but now they kind of middle of the pack team. Now that we really want to go there. We get these superstars for a little, they do their magic, and then they leave. So they've kind of gotten to that point. It's tough to see, but they got to agree with you on that one too, Josh. It's just the GM coming out there. I didn't hear those comments, but obviously, obviously he said them. So I mean, it's just probably not the smartest thing to do. Like you said, Dame's given everything to this franchise, so I don't know why you're trying to throw him under the bus. He's doing a little bit of it. It's just an unnecessary thing to say. You could just leave it at that and just don't even mention it. But just get Dame out of there. I didn't realize how old he was, 33. So I think he deserves to be on a winning team and a little better than some of those better Portland teams that he just basically carried. I mean, we all know the shot. So I want him on a little better team. And like we said, we both said on this one, it's a little scary for the Celtics and all these other Eastern Conference teams. If Dame comes over here with Jimmy Butler, whatever, obviously they're not going to ship out Bam. So him, Jimmy Butler, and Bam, it's a scary trio.
I couldn't agree with you anymore, and especially because Miami they've been there like every year without Damian Lillard anyways. And you adding him to the fray there, it's going to be dangerous if he ends up going there. It's looking like he's going to go there. It's looking like he doesn't really want to be anywhere else besides there. So, again, I kind of take it as you can as a Celtics fan. You're all in on Jaylen Brown. You got Kristaps Porzingis, who apparently is a great defender, and we'll see. I mean, last year his defensive stats were good. Were pretty good for the Washington Wizards, so we'll see if he can come over here and make that impact again. I'm skeptical. That's normal. I think it's a normal thing to feel that way. But, yeah, I think Damian Lillard to Miami Heat is just the writing in the sand, writing in the wall, line in the sand, whatever the saying. Writing on the wall. It's going to end up happening. I don't know what they end up sending over. I think it'll be like a Tyler Hero and a couple other picks. Maybe a couple other players I'm blanking on. I know Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, like those guys are kind of free agents and doing their own stuff. But, yeah, I don't know what's going to have to be sent, but Damian Lillard will be a Miami Heat. I agree with you on that, Ben, 100%.
Yeah, sorry, Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero's gone probably. He's out of there. So I hope he enjoyed South Beach for as long as he could. So he's going to Portland. You know, it's a little tough, different weathers, Josh, but it's gonna be tough. But yeah, they'll scavenge up a package, get these draft picks, as you mentioned. I don't know how valuable these draft picks are. Hopefully the draft picks are get a little more valuable now. I mean, we've got a ton of them. And some of these trades, I was hoping to see the Celtics do something with some of these draft picks, but we got a lot of them. So we got those stockpiled up. Hopefully we can use them to our advantage. But yeah, Dame to Miami bucket. It's easy. And you know, it stinks, but hopefully Kristaps can be there as a defensive presence. Hopefully we can get one big guy to stay healthy, Josh. Hopefully out of Rob and him, I think we can get one big guy, and maybe Jordan Walsh will be there too as well. You never know.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. I think the Celtics, like I said, all the chips are in. We'll see what they do to fill out that bench and just in general the team. I know a lot of Celtics analysts feel that this is not the end of their trades and what they do. I know that they can make things work. They're going to be definitely over the luxury tax threshold, and I don't understand all the salary caps and all the, economical factors of the team and the league and stuff, but you got to assume they make a couple other moves as well. They lost a lot of defense in Grant Williams and Marcus Smart, so we'll see how they replace that. However, we've got a couple minutes left, and I just wanted to end it on this. I was thinking about this. I was even thinking about this like before the show. It's an NFL point. We're going to end on this. No DeAndre Hopkins or Dalvin Cook news has been made yet. I know some people have thrown out a bunch of interesting theories. I think the running backs kind of settle in a different zone. I think a lot of people are, skeptical anyways of Dalvin Cooks, the Ezekiel Elliott's, that stuff. I think those will be kind of later, pickups, and they'll be on a team. I want to say at least Dalvin Cook will be on a team by the time the season starts. Injuries as well. They'll pick people up. Still early. We'll be seeing a lot of injuries, which, to be honest, we haven't seen too many yet in the OTAs. But DeAndre Hopkins, an interesting point that Lewis had brought out, and then I heard it on TV. This guy, he doesn't like to practice, yada, yada, yada. He doesn't want to show up till it's mandatory, whatever. I'm starting to think that might somewhat be true. And I'm not saying that for the Patriots. I'm not saying he's going to go there. But this guy still hasn't signed. I don't know if he thinks he's worth more money than he is. You've got to assume teams are reaching out to him at all. I mean, there's definitely teams reaching out to him, but the market's not there. I don't know. I'm starting to lean towards the practice thing, but Ben, who would have thought? We're still rolling on week to week, and DeAndre Hopkins is still a free agent here.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it, Josh, with everything else going on. I kind of forgot. I just assumed he was on a team. But yeah, Dalvin too. It's interesting, those, as you mentioned, theories thrown out there. Both those guys have their own theories out there. Dalvin would love to pair up with D-Hop. D-Hop's just looking for a new home. D-Hop just looking to go for a winner. So it was a little, a little skeptical on the Pats, and I think Lewis's theories. I think it's accurate. I think it's true. I think he got over to New England. I know he stayed for a while, and everybody was hyped up about that. But I think saw all those mandatory practices. Sort of that culture that Bill has, and says, I kind of want out. But I think maybe go somewhere a little more lenient. He's obviously got great respect for Bill, but listen, D-Hop, I'm not calling D-Hop lazy by any means either. But listen, he's at that point of career, he doesn't want to get yelled at, and have to do all these unnecessary practices to him. That he doesn't think he has to do. So I think it'll go a little more lenient. I know Jared's Bills are still out there. That's the hot one, right? Hot topic for D-Hop, but yeah. Yep, I agree with Scooby right there. He ain't coming. He's not coming. Here we go. I got you on that one, Scooby. But Josh, it's honestly tough to pin down a team right now. I think I'll go Bills for D-Hop and Dalvin. I think I'm just confused on Dalvin. I got no clue where Dalvin's going to end up right now. He might honestly just follow D-Hop. He might just ask the Bills if he can come along.
Hey, if he did that, he'd be playing with his brother as well, James Cook. I want him in Dallas. I think him and Tony Pollard would be a great tandem. I also want Ezekiel Elliott back on a short, cheap deal. They need something.
we
I don't
go.
think it's going to happen, but we need another running back besides Tony Pollard. We've got plenty of time. We'll get to that another day. We're approaching the end of the show. I just wanted to say, I didn't say this at the beginning of the show, we were going to do the drawing this week, but we're extending it one more week. I promise you guys.
Right.
Let me just double check. Yeah, I promise
One
you
more
guys we will have it on. We will do the drawing next week for the tickets. I'm going to post them a couple more times so you guys can get it. Red Sox Braves, July 24th. I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining. Again, we'll do that raffle next week. Shout out to my boy Dreykus, and yeah, I'm gonna end it on that. Shout out to my boy Dreykus, and thank you to everybody for tuning in. And I'm gonna turn it over to Ben as always.
Yeah, we'll get to those last two right there. Nick DeVos is saying both to the Chiefs. That would be a pretty sad sight to see D-Hop and Dalvin going to the Chiefs. And of course, we'll get the Free Jacks a graphic next time. Scooby, we got you with that one, and shout out to Lewis as always. And come on, man, Lewis joining us. Always good to hear from him. Josh mentioned room for Dreykus. Dreykus over Izzy. That's going to be the take for us going forward. I'm going to end it on this. Luis Arraz and LMVP. Book it tonight.